wanted to kind of go over a little bit of what I'm still learning this, so by no means don't take this to heart or assume that this is like scientific, because it's not. It's just quick, research and stuff like that. But anyways, the 5/16 rocket initially weighed 8.5 grams. The empty weight after it got burned was 6.3. The maximum thrust that I was able to see per frame on my camera was 86.9, and then it dropped to the minimum of 7. I try to draw it on a scale here so you can kind of see a representation of how it starts. Initially in the video, you'll see that it jumps up to like 26 grams, but then it peaks at 86.9. So all I did was go online and convert 86.9 grams to pounds, and it gives you, I forget what it was like 0.18 or something like that. So 0.18 pounds of thrust, and then it quickly drops off between the half a second mark. It dropped down to lower than 0.1, so I had to add that in there because it went from 86.9 to like 45.6, and then it dropped down to 11, then it went to 7. So it's kind of just trending down here. So the maximum thrust is the initial burn, which you'll see in the video where you see the flame come out. And that doesn't last very long, and that goes back to the video I posted before when I was talking about how cord rocket works. The cord rocket, this part here is going to be your maximum thrust because the core is burning quickly, so you get a full amount of force coming out of your rocket. So that's all your power there, and that's what the initial is. That's why a lot of people like cord rockets. If I had an end burner, you would see that this would last a lot longer than just 2 seconds. It'd be a lot faster, or I'm sorry, it would be a lot longer, but you won't have enough thrust or a lot more thrust generated because of the way the rocket's designed. So your initial rocket thrust is going to be at its highest at initial burn because the fuse goes in, and as the fuse goes in, it's burning all this up. Once this gets burned, then the rocket's still burning the top end, which is going to be your delay or whatever it is that you're putting in there, but that is just when it's coasting. And then it reaches apogee, which is the very top of when the rocket hits 0, and then it starts to fall back down, and then it trends down. So this is pretty much what the rocket is doing as far as its flight. Now, you could convert and determine how much weight you can lift and all that, but these little rockets can lift a good amount of weight. So I'm going to be doing a shell test on that. I know I mentioned it before, which I've already done the rocket. I'll show you what it looks like. But like I said, I didn't fill this guy all the way up. So had I filled it up, it probably would have had a lot longer burn time, but the thrust would not really be different because the length of the spindle, that's what changes things. That's why on certain rockets, you see they have a very long spindle, which means more power, and then some have a short spindle. Now, depending on what kind of fuel you're using, such as black powder or rocket fuel or a whistle mix, that changes everything. But for a standard black powder rocket, this is pretty much what you'll see for a 5/16, and then it kind of trends down from there. Obviously, the bigger the rocket, the more thrust, the more burn time. I know online Estes Rockets has that chart, and that tells you pretty much what size rocket, how much thrust, how many seconds. It goes by newtons for power. Then you pretty much understand what size of cardboard tube rocket you can launch up, something like this. Now, I'm not gonna say that this is exactly how that works, but if I get a maximum thrust of 86.9 grams, I'm gonna just say, just for this purpose, that it can lift 86.9 grams. So this rocket was designed for the 5/16, and it weighs 44 grams. So the rocket, this one should theoretically lift this rocket. Now, as far as it going up very high, that's going to be the difference, and that's what I want to be testing at some point. But because you do have 86.9 grams of thrust, that means it's lifting or taking off that fast. So there's probably a different factor than that for weight. So like I said, don't quote that or don't take it that's exactly how that works. I'm just thinking about the way it looks on paper, and this rocket doesn't weigh that much, it's like 44 grams. So it should be able to lift it, but we're gonna do trial and error and testing for that. On my next video, I want to do a sugar rocket. Those, I know you can do different cord, or if you want to just do end burner. But I want to be doing more scale testing with my rocket stand, and the 5/16 worked just fine with a little bit of tape. It didn't move or anything. So anyways, that's it for now, and just stay tuned for the next. So this is what I was talking about. I have a 5/16 black powder motor. This one is filled to the top, and it's carrying a shell which weighs 23.3 grams, if I remember, before I put the tape on it. So this rocket here is pretty much expended, but it's the tube with clay, and it weighs about 6 grams. So put that guy on there, and then you remove your 6 grams from here, which brings it to about 22 grams. And like I mentioned, this one was 23.3, so it's pretty close on the money. So that pretty much is telling me that this rocket here, if it can lift this guy that's 44 grams, it can definitely lift this 1.75 inch shell. So stay tuned for that. That's also going to be coming soon. And that's pretty much it.